Chapter 22. Spears arched high into the air. The dragons are thrown all back-winged and banked out the way, trying to avoid the crew's spearheads and each other at the same time. A moment later, the wolves charged forward, their howls filling the air with their lust for blood. The dragon elders were the first to meet the enemy head-on. Magnetis and Tyrannica barreled through the first line of attacking canines, sending them bouncing across the ground. Their packmates sprang over them and swung their blades at the dragons, preventing them from trampling over their downed companions. Tyrannica roared in outrage and breathed a wave of ice across the wolves, freezing them in place. Magnetis opened his jaws wide and unleashed a shower of lightning bolts, frightening the frozen wolves into icy caskets. The invaders then slowed down their assault. Up to the side, one of the warriors were pushed past Ash, Flame, and Ember. The fire breathers combined their powers to send out a wall of fire along the perimeter of the lower gardens to keep the wolves from pressing any closer to the city. Flame and Ember charged the wall of fire and sped a volley of fireballs. The explosions sent bodies and limbs flying in all directions before the wolves regrouped enough to bear down the young dragons. Ash's short sword of the wall spewed another whiff of fire, halting the wolves where they stood. He shot over their heads, grabbing Silver in his claws before hurling them over the side of the cliff. "Bring him down," Turtle barked, "before he knocks us off this mountain." Several of the wolves rushed forward, grabbing their spears that were lodged in the ground. A pair of wolves breathed a cloud of ice, creating a hole in the wall of fire created by the dragons. The wolves began to push to the wall as Ash banked back for another run. The canines saw him coming and continued to press forward. Just as Ash dove in low enough, 3 wolves leaped onto their spears and fell into the air. Ash's eyes grew wide in surprise, and he bellowed in pain as he drove their spears and blades into his flesh. The wolves scrambled into his back and stepped into him again. The old dragon howled and spun to try and throw them off, but they dug their weapons in deeper. The attackers sparked to each other, and 2 grabbed onto Ash's wings. Down below, Flame and Ember watched in horror as the wolves cut into Ash's wing membranes, seeing a shower of blood raining down on them. The elder gave a cry and plunged to the ground. "We have to help him!" Ember cried. "Go!" Flame shouted. "I'll hold them off." "Flame!" Ember said in protest, but he shuddered hit the glare. "Just do it." Ember nodded wordly and flew as fast as she could, trying to get ahead of the wolves that were closing in on the old dragon. The 3 that had brought the large fire breather down withdrew the weapon from his bleeding flesh and moved toward his head. The wounded dragon glared up and then stamped his jaws. The wolves jumped back as Ash struggled to get to his feet. Small sparrow crossed his nostrils when Ash's front legs buckled. Just as they were about to move in for the final blow, a shower of sparklers blinded them. Ember rummed into them as he staggered around blindly. Before they could get up, she drew in a deep breath before breathing a white-hot stream of fire, turning them to ash and men on the ground where they stood. "Are you alright?" Ember gasped as she fluttered down to the ground beside the wounded elder. "I am still able to fight," Ash wheezed, "but I fear I am not able to fly at the moment." "Leave that to me," Ember nodded. "I can heal you myself. There's no time for that." Both dragons turned to see Candace glide towards them. She had blood spatter against a pair of blue scales, but not from personal injuries. "He's going to have to be our stationary weapon for the time being." "But he'll bleed to death," Ember protested. "Heal him enough so that he doesn't." Candace stepped in front of them and spread her wings before the charging wolves. "But we have to keep them at bay." The wolves howled and Candace hissed menacingly. She coughed, sending a shower of spikes high into the air. The first spears arched high before coming down on several of the wolves unlucky enough not to dodge. Candace inhaled and held her breath for a second as the attackers continued to advance. At last she exhaled and sent a wave of ice across the ground, freezing the grass and turning it into jagged spikes to puncture the wolves' feet. The canines yelped and hollered, dancing wildly, bumping to one another, trying to get away from the pain that stabbed to their feet. "That should buy you some time," Candace called to Ember over her shoulder. "I'm going to try and get you a little more." "Thanks," Ember called as Candace flew off deep in the battleground. The wall of fire was starting to disappear as more ice wolves hurried to put out the flames. Candace snarled angrily and landed hard on the ground, turning the earth beneath their feet to ice and seeing spikes shooting up from the grass. The ice wolves choked in surprise as the spears rammed straight through them and spilled their blood across the gardens. Candace whirled around, sending a barrage of icicles into a group of wolves that had flames surrounded. They yapped and fell to the ground, giving the fire guard an escape route. "Thanks for the assist," he gasped for breath as he stood beside Candace. "Any time," Candace nodded. "It's not like I had anyone else to look after her." She spat another ice shot and froze 3 more wolves where they stood before shooting them with a swing of her tail. Flame gave her a disappointed look. He had been just as surprised and shocked as the other Guardians after they had heard the news from Candace that Trimmer was thinking about leaving the Guardians. They had all taken the news with great despondency. But having seen the Earth Dragon content in such a state when the news of an impending attack on the horizon had made him believe that there was still hope for his friend. Flame shook those thoughts from his head and tackled the wolf that was creeping up behind Candace. "This is for Tremor!" he roared and breathed heavily into the wolf's face. Candace turned her head as the fire guard dragon but had said nothing. "Tremor, I hope you realize what you've done," she put to herself. All around, the wolves were gathering in mass to make another push. Candace froze the ground against her in the air. "Come on, we have to pull back. There's too many of them." Flame released another fall of the firebolts before taking wing and falling the dragoness back to ember and ash. This battle would be one of the toughest since the attack on the western city, or eastern city. Cinder roared and swung her tail blade, slicing the throat of an attacking wolf. The beast gargled as he fell to the ground, clutching at his throat. Immediately, another pair of wolves leaped over their fallen packmate and swung their blades. Cinder ducked and the blades clashed over her head. The dragoness lurched forward and slashed with her long talons, tearing its skin away from the wolves and revealing bare bone and muscle. "Spyro, where are you?" she gasped as she turned and looked back at the tower in the distance. "We need you now." "Look out!" Cinder's head snapped around as a group of wolves sprang towards her, their claws eager for her blood. Shadow fire exploded from the ground, and Max slammed into them, ramming the leader with his head and catching the other two with his serrated claw on its wings. The four of them fell to the ground in a bloody pile. Max jumped to his feet, slashing one wolf across the face with his tail blade and plunged his killer claw into the gut of another, spilling his entrails across the ground. The third wolf swung his bladed weapon only to meet a spray of acid from Max's throat, melting his arm away. The stunned wolf stared at the stub and showed as Cinder thrust her tail blade through his chest. "Cinder, you have to be more careful," Max warned as he walked over. "You almost got hurt just now." "Move!" Cinder shouted and jumped forward, shoving the larger black dragon out of the way. Her eyes flashed deep reddish, and she let out a piercing cry as the next wave of attackers pressed forward. The sound of her shriek petrified the invaders, and they clutched at their ears, tearing at them in fright. Cinder's pair of wings widened, and with a mighty flap, sent them tumbling through the air and off the cliff to the edge of their deaths below. The black dragons turned and looked back at Max with a piercing smirk on her face. "Max, you had to be more careful. You almost got hurt just now," she teased. The red cheeks flushed against his dark scales. The moment was interrupted by Hound and Dissa and an earth-shaking boom. "Come on, we have to help the others," Cinder shouted to Max and turned away from the now deserted gardens. "I'm right behind you," Max called and followed close as he flew off over the city. "Don't let them get through," said Shadow and sprayed the wolves down with lightning. The beasts howled and fell to the ground, only to have their packmates take cover behind the bushes and piles of fallen bodies before hurling their spears. Sarah sidestepped as Sarah's spears hit the ground beside her. Off to the side, Zephyr swung his spiked tail, shattering the spears that threatened in his and Plex's life. The fluorescent green plaque sprang up his friend's shoulders and somersaulted to the air, covering himself in flames before dropping like a bomb on top of a cluster of wolves behind a thick bramble. Sarah's eyes widened when she saw the pillar of flame shoot in the air and the scream of dying wolves. "You're a fire dragon?" she gasped as Plex got to his feet and shook the ashes off himself. "Sure I am," he smiled at her and gave her a sly wink. "Plex!" Sarah shouted and charged in. Plex turned as a large wolf raised his blade to crush him beneath it. Sarah swept his foot across the ground, throwing Plex out of the way just in time. "And he's an earth dragon?" Sarah gasped at Zephyr as the black dragon launched towards the wolves. Zephyr slammed headfirst to the wolf's gut, crushing his chest wall in the process. The canine staggered back, and the other wolves that took shelter behind the browns moved in on Plex and Zephyr. Both dragons backed up and leaped onto one another. "Shall we?" Zephyr asked over his shoulder. "No time like the present," Plex smirked. Both males stuck to the ground and blew hard, sending up a cloud of dust and ash. The wolves snarled as debris stung their eyes and nostrils. "Chew on this!" Plex sent a badass fireball into the face of his attackers, setting their fur ablaze. The warriors screamed in agony, beating at their faces, desperate to put the flames out. Zephyr slammed his paws on the ground, sending bows shooting up to the ground. He whirled around, striking them with his tail, and knocking them into his opponents. Sarah nodded to herself as she watched the two of them fend off the pressing invaders. Her attention was diverted when she sensed movement to her left. She sprang in the air as more spears hit the ground where she had been standing moments before. The wolves on her end were making another push to get past her. The dragon shrieked and unleashed another chain of lightning. The wolves tugged tail behind the shrubs as they caught fire. "Damn it," she cursed to herself. "I can't hit them this way." Suddenly, a wave of fire swept across the ground, engulfing the wolves hiding in cover. They howled as they burned away in the intense heat. Stella turned her head to see a young red dragon several yards away, his eyes burning with anger and plumes of smoke billowing from his jaws. He looked up at Stella and smiled at her. Stella found herself lost in his deep red eyes and smiled spread across her face. "Thanks for the help, Infernus," she called and head over to him. Before the young dragon could answer, a wolf's blade flew through the flames, catching Stella in the hilt of the blade. The sound shock stunned the dragoness, knocking her from the air. Infernus' eyes widened when she hit the ground hard and didn't move. After a second, Stella picked herself up and shook her head. She looked to see Infernus running towards her, then glanced aside to see Turtle and several other wolves have their spears. Stella's heart raced back as time seemed to slow down for her. The wolves locked their kindling stares on her and stepped forward. As they released their spears, Stella felt a heavy force strike her before her world went toppling out of control. She hit the ground and heard a sickening squish and thunk behind her. She was dazed from the blow, but the sudden sound of Infernus' screams knocked her back to reality. Stella felt a painful twist in her chest as she raised her head and looked back at the young fire breather. He wasn't where he had been, but was now pinned to the wall. He screamed in agony as he tried to squirm free of the spirits that had him in place. "Stella, just no!" She mouthed silently to herself in wide-eyed shock. "Not him," she pleaded as she watched Infernus try and pull one of his spears out of his shoulder with his jaws. "Anyone but him." Tears began to flow down her cheeks, and she felt something deep inside swell up to the surface. She sensed the presence of the wolves that had been with Tura moving closer to her. In a flash, Stella turned on them. The wolves did not have a moment to retaliate before the dragoness plunged closer to their throats, tearing at their tracheas. By now, the next wave of attackers was sweeping through Infernus' wall of fire. Their first two burning slightly, but not enough to stop them. Stella fixed her blazing glare on them and bolted for them. Her bright sun was engulfed with electricity as she charged to their lines. The sounds of battle disappeared from her ears, to be replaced with the shrieks and howls of dying mongrels. Stella kicked the ground, shooting up in the air, and spread her wings wide, absorbing as much energy from the sun as she could. Her jaws opened wide, and a ball of electricity began to form. "What is she doing?" Black as she looked up at her. "I have a bad feeling about this," Sarah replied. "We get out of the way." The two males leaped up towards the upper level of the gardens as more wolves clawed at their hindquarters. High above, lightning crackled around Stella's teeth. The clouds were darkening above when the sound of thunder rolled across the sky. The wind picked up suddenly, blowing the flames and smoke away from the gardens. The wolves yelled and gripped their weapons tighter. Some even turned to hurl their spears at Lightning Guardian. "You," Stella hissed in her mind, "you hurt Infernus. He didn't deserve it. He's been nothing but kind-hearted and loving towards me, and you all try to kill him." Flash lightning could be seen all around the mountain. "You'll pay!" Stella shrieked as a bolt shot from the sky and struck her. She screamed and released the overcharge of electricity. Down below, the wolves shielded their eyes from the blinding light. For a split second, everything was silent, then the mountain shook as Stella's bolt caught through it. An explosion sent a shockwave to the gardens. The wolves that were obliterating the blast were sent flying in all directions or up the mountain. Others were left petrified by the massive amounts of electricity that coursed through their bodies. Stella gasped heavily, her body smoking and cracking with lightning. She suddenly felt drained of her energy, and she began to lower towards the ground. As she set foot down on the glowing grass, the remnants of electric energy rushed back into her. The dragoness gasped. She felt something for power return. "Hey!" Blasco grabbed the guardian's attention. Stella turned to see Plax and Sever doing their best to help Infernus up the wall where he was pinned. Stella dashed over to him as the red dragon's body fell to the ground. "Stella," Infernus gasped weakly. "Are you alright?" "No, I'm not," Stella sobbed. "Look at you. You're a mess." "I'll be alright, I promise." Infernus groaned and struggled to get up, but his strength had left him already. Another hawk cut through the air with the strong winds that Stella had brought around the Dragon City. "Infernus!" Stella, Plax, and Sever all turned to see Max and Cinder coming in towards them. The black wrapped the land and shook his head in shock at his best friend before him. The Fierce had punctured through his left shoulder and wing. Another gun completely through his side, and the last was still lodged in his skin at the space of his wing. "What are you doing, you idiot?" "It's not as best as it looks," Infernus was trying to put on a tough appearance for his older friend. "My tail it isn't," Max snapped. "Hey, boys!" Cinder jumped in. "Now's not the time for your macho antics." She looked to Stella and thrust her head back towards the city. "You had better get into shelter. There's nothing more you can do for now." "Right," Stella murmured. Plax helped her hoist Infernus up, paying little attention to how comfortable he was and focused on getting him to safety. "Stella," Infernus grumbled, his eyes began to grow heavy. "I want to say that I'm sorry." Stella felt her heart skip a beat as she and Plax ran along with the wooden dragon. "You have nothing to be sorry for. Now be quiet so we can concentrate on getting you to safety." Back in the makeshift shelters, it was exceptionally noisy. noisy. All around were dragons of all ages. Young ones crying, elders trying to calm down the scared little ones, and the wounded being brought in. Off in the corner, Tang sat curled around Static. The young dragoness had been sitting quietly watching the refugees huddled together. She was bandaged with medicinal leaves, and her bleeding had stopped for the most part once Tang had helped her along to upper levels of the city, away from the battleground. How are you holding up? The blue dragon asked as he moved his wing up from her side to just above her shoulders. As well as can be expected, Tang sighed in response. She was exhausted, but was in too much pain to sleep. I'm sorry. Tang shook his head. I never should have asked you to go out like that. It was my fault that you were hurt. It should have been me. Please don't blame yourself, Zack whimpered. I didn't know, and neither did you. Even still, I thought I was doing my duty protecting our home. Now look what's happened. If you hadn't sent me out, we wouldn't have known that the attack was coming. Zack turned to look at him with his soft blue eyes. You may not think so, but I think you did I know you did the right thing. Tang let an exasperated sigh. Zack cracked a light smile and noticed him warm before resting her head against his chest. Tang, surprised by her sudden extra affection, paused for a minute before turning his curl around her, laying his head down for her to keep her warm. Turning watched two of them and curled his lip at himself. Such a fool, he muttered. She looked up as she continued having a wounded ice dragon who had been impaled by a drag blade. What are you talking about? Them. Turning to his hand in the direction of Stang Tang. I should be out there fighting to protect them. Nothing here, just wondering what's going on out there and if they need me. So what are you doing here then? Sing traced her brow. Talking about it isn't going to do you any good. But Ken told me to stay here. Jim hung his head as he remembered the anger in her eyes. And do you always listen to what she says? Sage asked skeptically. You don't strike me as the type to take things lying down, Tremor. I'm not. Tremor gave a slight chuckle. Then why aren't you? Sage was broken up by stumbling footsteps. Jim turned to see Uranian storming down the corridor with an earth dragon draped over his back. Leafwind! Sage cried and bounded over to him, leaving Tremor to place the last medicinal leaves onto the dragon they had been helping. Uranian set the earth dragon down the floor and Leafwind coughed. He had several severe wounds stretched across his body.